Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to our September All Stakeholder Meeting for the Summer EBT program, known as Sunbucks. My name is Paula Martinez, and I'm one of the analysts assisting with the Sunbucks implementation. I'll hand it over to Valerie, who will start with a few housekeeping slides to familiarize you with the meeting controls. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Paula. Hello, my name is Valerie. I'm one of the analysts working on the Sunbucks program. As you may have noted, this is a Zoom webinar. This webinar will be listen-only mode. The meeting invitation also provides the option to connect to audio via phone or computer, depending on your preference. This webinar will be recorded. As soon as the recording becomes available, you may follow the YouTube link on the Sunbucks webpage or go to the CDSS YouTube website to access the video recording. Next slide, please. While this webinar is listen-in only mode, we're providing you with the way to ask questions. You can ask about the program and today's content by using the Q&A section. To do so, select the Q&A button located on the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. You're welcome to submit a question at any time during the webinar, and they will be collected and answered at the end of the webinar during our Q&A period. Next slide, please. Also offering the chat feature in addition to Q&A. Please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Share your name, location, and organization if applicable. Note that when using this feature, you have the option to select everyone, which is the default, or to select a specific participant to send your chat to. If you're having any logistical issues, you can use the chat function to ask for support from one of our co-hosts, Osmar Mesa, who is handling logistics today. To do so, you can go to Meeting Controls, select Osmar Mesa in the dropdown, type in your logistic question, and hit Enter. Osmar will respond and provide you with an answer to your question. Please keep in mind that the chat feature is to be used for logistical questions only. All program questions should be asked in the Q&A section so we can better keep track of, respond to, and document the questions. Next slide, please. In today's meeting, we will provide a brief background and an overview of Sunbucks to ensure everyone is on the same page. We'll also share 2024 highlights, including outcomes, outreach efforts, disaster response, and customer service. We will also discuss 2025 program planning, including important information to remember for the year ahead, and an overview of the Interim Plan for Operations and Management, or IPOM. And as always, we'll go over our next meeting and we'll provide some time for questions and answers. And with that being said, I'll hand it over to Jeremy to get started. Next slide, please.
Good afternoon. Let's do a quick overview of the Sunbucks program. Next slide, please. Before we get into specifics, we want to define terminology that will be important to know to understand the upcoming slides. One of the requirements for Sunbucks eligibility is that a child attend a school that participates in the National School Lunch Program, also known as NSLP, or the School Breakfast Program, also known as the S-EBT. The NSLP and S-EBT are federal programs available to qualifying schools that serve meals to students. It is overseen by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and administered by the California Department of Education. These programs are federal and state reimbursement programs for healthy, quality meals served and meet federal requirements. Schools that operate NSLP and S-EBT are required to offer free or reduced price meals to children. Another term we may refer to throughout this presentation is the summer operational period. For California, the summer operational period is June 1st through August 31st. This may differ in other states, as the summer operational period is defined based on the state's average school calendar. The Department of Education reviewed available school calendars and found that over 90% of California schools are on summer break between June 1st and August 31st. In California, the compulsory age to attend school for children is ages 6 through 18. So when we say school age, we are referring to those children. Lastly, you will hear CEP, or Provision to School. CEP stands for Community Eligibility Provision School. CEP, or Provision to Schools, allow the nation's highest poverty schools and districts to serve breakfast and lunch at no cost to all enrolled students without collecting household data. Without collecting household applications. Next slide, please. Our summer 2024 operational period ended August 31st. For students that were eligible for 2024, these were the ABCs of eligibility. Groups B and C in teal colors on the right are those automatically enrolled due to streamlined certification, receiving CalFresh, CalWORKS, Medi-Cal under 185% of the federal poverty level, or certified for free or reduced price meals through direct certification, categorical eligibility, or NSLP or SBP applications through their schools. Now, a much smaller group of children is Group A, who are not streamlined certified, those in the banana color on the left. These children need to apply by August 31st of each year. At this time, we expect to continue to use alternative income forms or meal applications for 2025. Note that we are still doing data cleanup and are not finished mailing cards for 2024. We anticipate cards to still be mailed out through January 2025, albeit a smaller number. And as we exit 2024 program year and look towards 2025, we generally have the same sort of eligibility as the 2024 year. Next slide, please. To clarify, to be eligible for reduced price meals and therefore Sunbucks, children must be part of a household in which the income is confirmed to be at or under 185% of federal poverty level. The table on the slide reflects the income threshold for eligibility to reduce price meals in the school nutrition program. For children in a household to be determined eligible for Sunbucks, the household must not exceed the income limits displayed here. Please note, the income guidelines for free school meals have lower income threshold, but to be eligible for Sunbucks, eligibility for reduced price meals is sufficient. To determine income eligibility, the parent or guardian must submit a school meal application or an alternative income form at their school site. Next slide, please. It is also important to note that children who get supplemental security income or state supplementary payment, also known as SSI/SSP, or the Adoption Assistance Program, can also get Medicaid, but may not be certified at or under 185% of the federal poverty level and will need to submit a school meal application or alternative income form at their child's school. Reminder that the application deadline for 2024 was August 31st. Next slide, please. The California Universal School Meal Program, or UMP, provides free school meals to any child, regardless of whether they are eligible for free or reduced price meals as defined by the federal government. It is important to not equate receiving free school meals as eligibility for Sunbucks. We are receiving inquiries from parents and guardians who believe their children are Sunbucks eligible since they receive free meals at school through UMP. But again, note, UMP participants do not automatically get Sunbucks and may need to submit a school meal application or alternative income form with their child's school by August 31st of each year. Next slide, please. Sunbucks benefits are provided on an electronic benefits transfer card or EBT card. They are issued in a lump sum of $120, which includes $40 per month for each of the 3 months of the summer operational period. One card is issued per eligible child for the entirety of summer. Because these benefits are intended for summer use, the Code of Federal Regulations requires that benefits be expunged or removed 122 days from when the benefits are loaded onto the card. Benefits cannot be reloaded to cards once they have been removed. Since Sunbucks benefits expire 122 days after being issued on the card, families who also receive CalFresh should prioritize using their Sunbucks first. We'd like to note that the expungement date is not noted on the card or any of the accompanying documents. Customers may contact the Sunbucks helpline if they would like to know their card expungement dates. And for enhanced security, we encourage cardholders to download the free EBT Edge mobile app to create a PIN and learn how to protect their benefits. This tool provides Sunbucks cardholders with enhanced security card features, including the ability to freeze or unfreeze their card, change their PIN, and check their balance. More information can be found at www.ebt.ca.gov. Next slide, please. Let's now transition to some current outcomes and highlights for the 2024 program year. Next slide, please. Here are the latest statistics for Sunbucks card activity. Stage 1 card issuances were completed on August 8th, and Stage 2 issuances began September 3rd, bringing the new card issuance total up to 5,232,977 total cards issued. That's 4.9 for Stage 1 and 288,000 for Stage 2. That's almost $628 million available for the children of California. And as stated previously, Stage 2 will continue with monthly issuances planned until January 2025. In the meantime, over $415 million in foods have been purchased. And with that said, I will hand it over to Bernardo to go over our outreach for 2024. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Jeremy. We've used the various methods of outreach and education that you see on the screen to inform families on the Sunbucks program, including these all stakeholder meetings, which are posted to the CDSS YouTube channel. We'll share a link to the YouTube channel in the chat. Next slide, please. We're happy to announce the Sunbucks disaster response page has been added to the Sunbucks website. A screenshot of the page is provided on the screen. We're continuously updating our web pages as these are great resources for families and our stakeholders to access additional information about the Sunbucks program, including disaster response efforts. We'll share a link to the disaster response page in the chat. This webpage includes information on active and past disaster response efforts. Please feel free to direct folks to this webpage to learn more about the Sunbucks program. Next slide, please. We're also happy to announce 2 new publications are now available via the CDSS Sunbucks Partners page. The Sunbucks General Flyer on the left side of the screen has been revised to expand on Medi-Cal and Universal Meals Program eligibility. The CDSS Sunbucks September 2024 newsletter on the right side of the screen includes information on the Sunbucks program, Summer 2025 applications, Stage 2 Sunbucks card issuances, previous disaster response efforts, some frequently asked questions, and other resources to reference for more information on Sunbucks. Please note, language translations for these publications are forthcoming. Next slide, please. Moving on to our social media campaigns, our September 2024 social media infographics are now available and for use in 19 total threshold languages. These can be found on the partners page of our website under Resources, Use Sunbucks Before They Expire infographics section. As a note, our Public Affairs Office will be posting these campaigns via CDSS Facebook, LinkedIn, and X, or Twitter. These infographics are available for all our partners to use in conjunction with their social media outreach efforts. We'll share a link to the partners page in the chat so you have access to the revised General Flyer, September 2024 newsletter, and infographics. We want to take this moment to thank our CDE partners and advocates, plus the folks at our Public Affairs Office for their feedback and input on these publications. Now let's talk about our Sunbucks automated messaging campaigns. Next slide, please. Automated messaging consists of emails, text messages, and phone calls that are sent to families whose children are eligible for Sunbucks. Automated messaging has become a great way to notify Sunbucks benefit recipients of important information regarding their benefits. In this slide, we present our current automated messaging campaign timeline. To recap, for stage 1, automated messaging started in May 2024 and ended last month. This messaging was for families whose children were directly certified as Sunbucks eligible. For stage 2, automated messaging started on September 3rd and will continue until January 2025. This messaging is for families who were not captured in stage 1 and are now enrolled. For benefit expungement, automated messaging started on August 16th and will continue until May 2025. This message is to announce the child has more than $0 on their Sunbucks card and to be sure to use Sunbucks before they expire, or federally known as expunged. And finally, disaster response for Riverside County, zip code 92562. Automated messaging was sent on September 12th, 2024, notifying families to contact the Sunbucks helpline to report food loss that was purchased with Sunbucks due to a recent disaster. And for more information, please visit our Sunbucks website. I'll hand it over to Marilyn to go over Sunbucks disaster response. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Bernardo. Good afternoon. I am Marilyn Ramirez, a manager in the Sunbucks program. We will now look at Sunbucks disaster response. Next slide. First off is the timely reporting extension. The timely reporting extension provides additional time for impacted Sunbucks households to report their food loss due to recent wildfires and power outages. The standard 10-day time frame to report an incident of Sunbucks food loss is extended to 30 days. The table displayed on the slide reflects the recently impacted zip codes eligible for the extension to report food loss. Households impacted by the recent wildfires and power outages can make a request for the replacement of Sunbucks benefits by calling 877-328-9677. Approved requests will have benefits reissued within 40 days. Next slide, please. Automatic messages for disaster response. Sunbucks sends out automatic messages to households regarding benefit replacements with a timely reporting extension is approved for a county for families within zip codes and counties affected by recent disasters. Emails and text messages are sent out in English and in Spanish to families. In addition, more details about this information can be found on our disaster response webpage on our Sunbucks webpage. Next slide, please. All right, so next up is we will transition to customer service. So customer service is a huge piece to ensuring a successful rollout of Sunbucks, and our call center has been live and operating since May 28th. The hotline phone number is provided on this slide and can also be found in the card mailer on the back of the Sunbucks card and on the website. The call center helps families with PIN setup, card replacement, address changes, both general and complex eligibility questions, and field escalations to CDSS and CDE as necessary. Escalation items could include requests to opt out of Sunbucks, benefit replacement requests due to household misfortune, and eligibility disputes. The helpline also provides expungement dates to families. Next slide. Now we'll like to share some data on the calls received. The first table shows the total number of calls received in August, broken down by language for a total of 152,000 calls. The second table shows the calls received from September 1st to the 9th, also broken down by language for a total of 38,782 calls. For August 2024, the largest number of calls were regarding eligibility inquiries, card reissuance requests due to an address change, card mailing status, PIN issues, and reporting a card lost or stolen. Next slide, please. Duplicate card issuances. The Sunbucks team has been made aware that there are some instances in which families are receiving more than one Sunbucks card for the same child. As a reminder, each eligible child is entitled to only one issuance of $120 for the summer. If a family receives more than one issuance, the family must notify the Sunbucks helpline immediately by calling 877-328-9677 and must destroy the extra card received. Now I'll hand it over to Adriana.
Thank you, Marilyn. Let's now transition to our 2025 program planning. Next slide, please. We want to highlight some key points that will carry over from 2024 to 2025. First is streamlined eligibility. As shown in the earlier slide, streamlined eligibility exists for children who are ages 6 through 18 and who receive CalFresh, CalWorks, or Medi-Cal at or below 185% of the federal poverty level, and children who are ages 0 to 22 years old and are attending a school that operates the National School Lunch and or breakfast programs and are certified for free or reduced price meals. In 2024, streamlined eligibility made up approximately 77% of the total number of children eligible to Sunbucks. Data for each group of children came from CDE's data system and CalSAWS. This underscores the importance of families keeping their address updated with their schools and the county welfare departments if applicable. As the address used to mail Sunbucks EBT cards comes from the school and the county welfare departments, and having an updated address will ensure the family receives their cards. Another reminder is that getting a Sunbucks card does not impact immigration status. As always, we invite you to visit our webpage for the most up-to-date information on the Sunbucks program. Next slide, please. We are happy to report that on September 6th, we've submitted our 2025 Interim Plan of Operations and Management, also known as the IPOM, to the USDA. The 2025 IPOM is a preliminary document that notifies the USDA of California's intention to operate Sunbucks in 2025. And it also provides preliminary benefit issuance numbers and administrative budget estimates and a narrative explanation of those costs. The purpose of this document primarily for USDA's fiscal forecasting and does not cover any of our operational plans, our waiver requests, timelines, or our outreach plans for 2025. As we get approval, we will keep all of you updated. Next slide, please. Now let's look ahead to summer 2025. The Sunbucks team is planning for an even more successful operational year in 2025 by working towards solutions to issue benefits quicker, by focusing on increasing access to the program, and exploring data sources to expand automatic eligibility. We look forward to sharing more information as it becomes available. And now I'll hand it back over to Paula. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Adriana. Now let's review the Q&A section together. But first, a quick reminder that this webinar was recorded. A link to all presentation materials will be published on the website once available. Please note these require time and patience for ADA accessibility and translation. You can find recordings from our prior stakeholder webinar on the Sunbucks playlist as part of the CDSS YouTube channel. You can see the link to the page on the slide. Now we'd like to hear from you. What questions do you have? You can ask your questions using the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen, and we will respond verbally and in writing. I'll go over the questions that have already been asked and answered throughout the webinar. So the first question asked is where cards mailed to the district office for fosters and homeless that were not matched to an address. The answer to that question is, hi David, the cards were mailed to the mailing address on file. If the district address was the mailing address, then the card was mailed to the district. The following question is, has a list of Summer EBT cards mailed to county offices for stage 2 been sent out via email? The counties need this list to locate customers in CalSOS and carry out outreach efforts. The answer to this question is, hi Raymond, not yet. We are in process of preparing the county lists and we will send them out soon. We have other questions still remaining to be answered, but if you have any other questions, feel free to type them in the Q&A section of this webinar. I'll give everyone a minute to type in any question that you might have. And if there are no additional questions, we can move on to the next slide, but I will give everyone a minute. Andrea, you have your hand raised. Do you want to? Andrea, are you able to unmute?
No, that's an accidental hand. Apparently the space bar raises your hand.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, well, we give some time for those two questions to be answered. I can go ahead and move on to the next slide to let everybody know about our next meeting. So our next meeting will be on Tuesday, October 15th from 2 to 3. So be on the lookout for an invite for that next meeting. Meanwhile, feel free to email your questions to sunbucks@dss.ca.gov. Also remember that all meeting materials will be sent out to everyone on the email distribution list once they become available. Okay, we'll go back to the Q&A. So we have county students who eat, the question is, we have county students who eat at our school sites, but who we do not process incomes forms to CalPATS for county students. Are they eligible to receive a card? Hi, David. In order for the answer is, hi, David. In order for those children to receive Summer EBT, the school site where the students are eating must be participating in NSLP or S-EBT. And the LEA, where the students are officially enrolled, needs to submit their FRPM records via CalPATS. The next question is, when can we anticipate getting started for 2025? The answer to that question is, hi Dee, we are in process of planning 2025 right now. However, I'd like to note that families can submit applications now for summer 2025. Seeing as there are no more questions on the Q&A, we'll go ahead and move on to the next slide. Thank you all for your participation, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thank you for joining us.